We're good for the pledge.
All right, so if everybody could please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the
to
flag
the flag,
United States
United States
of
of
America,
America,
to the
the
republic
republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty
liberty,
and justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
So thank you to everybody who's out there joining us. I apologize for the squeakiness of my chair. I knew it was squeaky, but I watched one of the replays the other day, and man, it's loud. So every time I move, I'll try and mute my my microphone every time I adjust. So I didn't realize how loud it was coming through. And before we start on the superintendent's report, I just want to give a great big thank you to the community, and the amount of yes votes that we got for the budget was just great to see. We had how many? 1,900 people voted about ballots. So we had a tremendous response, and we really appreciate the support from the community. We appreciate the support on the energy performance contract. That's going to get us an additional 10% in state aid on that project, which, Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's about $600,000 that we'll see.
That's correct.
In addition, and that's just because of the yes votes for the community. So we really appreciate that. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Dr. Massera and his team for the amount of work they put in on the budget and getting the message out. It's great to see all the positivity. CM positivity is the hashtag. And certainly that came through in the polls. So thank you very much for all of that. And now to Dr. Massera for his superintendent's report.
Okay. I want to reiterate that, we had a lot of people mobilized. Our community really came together. I think that idea of hashtag CM positivity really carried the day at a time when there's so much uncertainty and people are in, just such a strange place, this new normal that we're living in. I think for a time, over the years, it's almost been like there's this conspiracy against schools. They moved toward a universal budget vote day, and then they put in a tax cap, and all these things. As school leaders, we were always afraid, like, oh, this is going to kill us. We're not going to get the vote that we need. But when you've got communities that recognize that the schools are a hub of their community and that they really value the quality of education you put out there, I think in the end, when you're positive like we were, a community really comes together. So I want to thank all the teachers, all the staff members, everybody in our district that came together through a very, very difficult time, one of the most challenging times our country has ever seen, and dug in deep and did the hard work to make sure that our kids and our community knew that everyone in our district truly cared about what we do at our district. They placed the team above all else. And I think that was evident in everything we saw with regard to getting this budget done. So I want to thank everybody that came together to do that, and especially thank our community. I kept pushing out messages to many community leaders out there, and I think that those people helped to carry the day as well. So to all of you that were out there in the community spreading, even just the budget information and making sure that we had an informed community, I think it was critical. This is the most amount of ballots that we've ever seen. Over 2,000 came back. I think it was 2006 ultimately that actually counted. Ultimately in the past 10 years, we've never seen a budget pass with that many out there and absentee ballots. We were fearful that we would have more negative votes out there. This is the highest percentage we've seen in more than 10 years, 69% of our case. So to me, that's a mandate. When even last year in a tax cap compliant budget, it came in at 62%. For this year to commit at 69%. I think obviously we did a good job as a school community, as a Board of Education. I congratulate the board on putting together a responsible budget that with this positive affirmative vote, we're able to put out the high quality education that this community has come to expect from Santa Maria schools. So that's fantastic. And I think the community really understood our message about the EPC, that if they got behind this, $600,000 more would come in. So we had 86% come in for the EPC. So to me, that's all extraordinary. And I'm so proud of our entire team, our administrative team, my cabinet, all of the teachers and staff members that really pulled together for this. So thank you to everyone that helped to get this done. So, with that, I also want to, acknowledge that this is a time of year where we reflect on some of our teachers that have been with us for 4 years now. And this is the meeting where we bestow tenure upon teachers who are well deserving of that honor because of their dedication and their selfless service. We talk about hashtag CM positivity. One of the people that really helped us with that during this pandemic is the first teacher. I'm going to ask Jeremy Thode, who I saw in here, and I see you, Kathy. That emoji is a little weird. I'm not sure if you're really looking at me with that that blue emoji, but very funny. But Jeremy, if you could introduce Kathy Woodworth and tell us a little bit about her many contributions. Clearly, most recently, some of the things she's done to engage the community in STEM positivity would be wonderful. There she is.
Are you on?
There's Jeremy.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can, Jeremy. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, congratulations again to the Board of Education and the community for the budget. It's awesome news, and we'll continue to work hard for the kids of Center Bridges. So I just wanted to take a time. I'm very honored to talk on behalf of Kathy Woodworth. She is a star in every way, shape, or form. She has gone above and beyond for this district, for our kids, in our technology department in particular. Just a couple of highlights that I think are important. She started multiple AP classes. She is the mastermind behind the CMTV, and probably most recently and most importantly, I shouldn't say most importantly, but just incredibly, is her work behind the scenes during COVID with a lot of the videos and the messages and the positivity. She's helped us. She's volunteered. She's done so with virtual graduation, and on and on and on. One of the things that probably has gone unnoticed in the community, but not so much for me, is she's also made a push for women and our female students in technology and STEAM and all that type of stuff. So she's doing a lot of things to promote her program, to invest in kids. All grades. She is known to have kids come into her class to work on projects and work on different areas, or alternate her schedule or open up her schedule to allow kids to finish work, to take a class, to be creative, to get the kids the credit they need to finish their programs. So, again, as an educator, she's outstanding. We can enthusiastically recommend her for tenure, or I am to the superintendent. The superintendent, I'm sure, is to the board. She is even a better person. And I think that's incredible to know. We want people in our district working with our kids who are great people, and above the wonderful qualities she has as an educator, she is extraordinary as a person. So there's nothing else I could say. She's just outstanding.
Thank you, Jeremy, and certainly everyone that works with Kathy recognizes that, and we appreciate everything you're contributing. So certainly, it is my recommendation as superintendent to the Board of Education, and you will be taking action on this later to recommend Kathy Woodworth for tenure. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Can I just add something to that? My son, on a personal note, is going to film school. And what she's done, reaching out to my son over the last couple of years and working with him, I just personally want to thank her. She's been unbelievable. So thank you.
Been my pleasure.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr.
Thank
Thode,
you.
for your glowing recommendation.
You're welcome. She did all the work.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
makes it easy that way, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to shift gears here now. I don't see Sierra in here, but unless she's in under something anonymous or something like that. But I do see Melissa Reggio, and Sierra Seymour is our other teacher who works in both the middle school and high school that is up for tenure this year. So I'm going to toss it over to Melissa, and if Sierra's in here, can she show herself? But I don't think she is.
Hello. This is Melissa Reggio. Mrs. Seymour is here. Mr. Nofi, if you could just, she's one of, it says iPad.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Just iPad?
It says iPad. Yeah, we have 2 iPads on here. So which one she is, I'm not certain, but we'll
Oh,
be
okay.
as
We'll
soon
find
as
out.
we will find out.
50-50.
It's like that game where you flip over the tiles and you see what's underneath to match it, you know? It's a matching game.
Let's,
Hey, she is here.
hello?
Hello?
Sierra?
I'm here, but am I not in my video?
No, we can hear up.
There you go. Okay, I'm here.
There you are.
Okay, perfect.
Good
Hi,
to see you.
Seymour.
Hi.
All right, Dr. Massara, I'm going to start, okay?
Great, wonderful, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So, good evening. I would like to read a statement that I wrote for the recommendation of Mrs. Sierra Seymour for tenure in the Santa Mauritius School District. Mrs. Seymour began her career in Santa Mauritius 4 years ago and is currently employed as a middle school and high school ENL teacher. I believe it is important to share the unimaginable and terribly sad circumstances in which Mrs. Seymour was hired, because her reaction to these circumstances speaks to her character and who she is at her core. Mrs. Seymour was hired as our ENL teacher at the end of August after the sudden and tragic passing of her predecessor. Mrs. Seymour showed us and her students the depth of her poise and grace from day one, when she embraced her new students with open and loving arms, acknowledged their sadness and loss, and unbeknownst to any of us, decided to get up and speak at the memorial tree planting that we hosted in September for her predecessor's students and family. Mrs. Seymour truly, for lack of a better phrase, stepped up to the plate from the very beginning. From that moment on, Mrs. Seymour led the way to success for her students. She continued to support them socially and emotionally, while also motivating them to excel academically as well. For the past 2 years, her students have graduated from Santa Mauritius High School with a Regents Diploma. This has been her vision from the program from the very beginning, and now I'm proud to say that this is the new standard in Santa Mauritius ENL program. Mrs. Seymour's strength continues to be her connection with her students. They have confidence in her, and they seek her advice for not only their academic concerns, but personally as well. She is a role model to them, and this is evident when you enter her classroom. She celebrates their individual cultures, as evidenced by one of my favorite lessons that I've observed, during which her students utilized our makerspace materials to draw maps of their home country, and they programmed a robot to travel from their home country to the United States in the route that either themselves or their ancestors took. Students then shared with the class their family story. It was a beautiful experience and display of inclusivity and celebration of diversity. Mrs. Seymour's classroom is a safe place where her students can openly share, participate, and discuss. Outside of the classroom, Mrs. Seymour is our swim team supervisor and chaperones numerous field trips, including our overnight field trip to Frost Valley. This was a successful effort on her part to have her students that are learning the English language increase their participation in our field trips. The future is bright for our students in Santa Mauritius in our ENL program with Mrs. Seymour as their teacher. She continues to grow each and every year as an educator, and I am confident that she will continue to do so. It is for these reasons and many, many others that I, as the principal at Santa Mauritius Middle School, enthusiastically recommend to both the superintendent and Board of Education they grant tenure to Mrs. Seymour tonight. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Welcome.
Yeah, and Sarah, I can't say enough about all the wonderful things. Certainly, as a district, one of the things that we want to embrace is the diversity that we have and celebrate that, and make sure that teachers like you are doing that good work and are feeling supported by us as a district. So as that idea of promoting the social emotional piece and making sure that equity is at the forefront of all we do is a priority for us. And I thank you for the work you do, and certainly enthusiastically will be recommending Sierra for tenure this evening. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Woo!
All right. Yes.
Congratulations.
And so, the last thing, when I talk about the budget, I certainly want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't move forward and just thank Josh Foster for his many years this year. One of the things, Josh has been a board president and has done remarkable things. Josh has always had a real passion for these schools and has really promoted so many good things. One of the things that Josh was really behind was the IB program, the International Baccalaureate program, and really got behind this as a supporter and as a board president, and really helped to carry us over the line in that IB middle years program and IB diploma program, and begin the candidacy program at Clayton Huey. So Josh, just, congratulations on just an extraordinary run on the Board of Education here at Santa Mauritius. And thank you for hiring me, for that matter. I think that was a very good choice. But I think you've really been an exceptional board member, Josh. You have really contributed in so many ways. So just a thank you from me.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
And Ron, you kind of stole my thunder because I was going to thank Josh a little bit later in the program. Now I'm going to have to come up with other stuff. So,
you'll have to think of something.
Yeah. And and I was kind when I thanked everybody for the budget. I left room for you.
You did.
You didn't leave me much room. So Josh, we'll thank you again later. So that brings us to questions and comments regarding tonight's agenda only. If you have a question or a written letter regarding topics that are included on this agenda, if you could use the hand raising feature, and Bill will get you in. We have anyone, Bill?
No hands up.
Okay.
Nobody.
George, if you don't mind, I just want to add one more thing. We put out a distance learning survey that went out on Monday, and we have over 200 responses right now, maybe close to 250. But I just want to reiterate to everybody out there that if you have not had an opportunity to complete that survey, please do so, because we want your feedback. As a district, we want to get better, and in the event we need to be doing more of this in the future, we want to certainly do it the best we can. Overwhelmingly, we're seeing some real good feedback, on the job we did, but we want to get all the feedback we possibly can.
I do have a hand raised. Hold up. I do have one, Mrs. Marin. And let me unmute.
Okay, hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry for the Mrs. Marin. I'm the teacher, and that's how it's set up for my students. Lisa. We mentioned the survey, and I just wanted to point out, I did write in the survey that I have 3 students in 3 different schools, so it was very hard for me to answer some of the questions because it was 3 different experiences. So I forget there was a few that were really looking for specific answers, and like I said, it was hard to give the correct answer, or to share the experience, because it wouldn't apply to one student, didn't apply to the other. So I just wanted to point that out. I realized that after I had finished and submitted, it gave me an opportunity to submit another one, I think. So I mean, I guess it's a little too late to update, but I just wanted to point that out so that you're aware that some of the feedback might not be as specific or as accurate as you would want it to be for that reason.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a good point.
Yeah, but for anybody that is out there are some open-ended responses too that you could hopefully elaborate on some of that. And I did see that you put that in the open-ended responses. So
yeah, I mentioned it at the end, but there was like I forget how many hours a day or something. And I was like, it was so different for each kid. So
yeah.
Just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, do we have any other hands up?
Nope, looks like it.
Okay. Well, there'll be time for questions at the end too. So if anybody gets in late, they can ask us at the end. Motion to adopt the minutes of the special meeting of May 15th, 2020, the regular meeting of May 19th, 2020, and the special meeting of May 27th, 2020. Motion?
Motion.
Second? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Tom, you're muted, and Marcus, I don't know, I can't hear you.
I just got it.
Okay. Marcus, are you there? Am I the only one who can't hear Marcus?
No.
No, I can't
I
hear
can't
him.
hear.
I see his lips moving, but I can't hear him.
He's not muted.
No.
All right, let me try to reconnect.
Oh,
then.
there you are,
Oh, there
Marcus.
you
We
are.
got
There
you.
you go.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay. Pat, is it your turn now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the following donation.
Motion,
Motion.
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Thode. I think Josh had said it once before. You must have a closet full of these things because we get regular donations from you in this area, and we greatly, greatly appreciate it. I think he's still with us.
Yeah.
And if I could just pause here before we move on. Yep, I can hear you. And thank you, Jeremy, for the
Yeah,
kind
you
donation.
did- Yeah, well, my kids are growing up and not interested in the athletic equipment anymore, and it's COVID, so you can thank COVID because I'm cleaning out my garage and my storage areas. So
Well, it certainly helps
it's all
us.
good.
So
It will work.
thank you. And
You're
I do
welcome.
also, if I could just pause here for a moment before we move on. I logged into the athletic awards on Friday, and I have to say, Jeremy, and I know I told you this already, but I really think you did a spectacular job with that. You and the team that you had working for you. It was so wonderful to see the coaches speaking and the cameos and the former Donovan Award winners and the live presentations. And it really was just a wonderful and creative way to do the best you could with the limitations of technology. So I really want to thank you for that. And while I'm doing that, I want to thank you for everything you're doing for our seniors as well. Going above and beyond to make such a difficult time where COVID has robbed them of so many of their milestones as memorable and unique as possible. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. I just wanted to make sure we took the time to point that out.
You're welcome. It's a total team effort. A lot of people behind the scenes helping out, and hopefully I'll never, ever, ever have to do a Zoom presentation again. That's an award ceremony.
Well, it went really well, so
Thank you.
thank you. Go ahead, Pat.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the treasurer's report for the months of April and May 2020.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Be it resolved, a motion to approve the consent agenda. Asterisk agenda items are consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are approved via a single vote unless they are removed from being a consent item prior to the vote.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. That brings us all the way down.
23.
Yep.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the tenure appointments of the following individuals. Sierra.
Motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And Kathleen Midwood.
Motion,
Motion.
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries
Congratulations.
unanimously. Congratulations on your tenure appointment.
Congratulations.
Okay, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education adopts the Association of School Business Officials of New York Federal Funds Procedural Manual.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. That brings us to questions and comments from the community. Members of the public who desire to address or question the board of any topic related to board work are welcome to do so at this time. So again, use that little hand raising function and Bill will recognize you and get your audio going. Anyone, Bill?
Nobody yet. Nope. Nope, nobody.
Okay. So that brings us to dates to remember. The next Board of Education meeting will be on July 1st, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom, and we'll put out the information for that as we get closer. Motion to adjourn into,
George,
yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I just,
Oh.
I do, usually we have a tenure reception at this board meeting. We did have a couple teachers that also got tenure in, mid-year. Hopefully in September, we'll be able to have an in-person meeting where we can do something, as a formal recognition, so that we could see our teachers in person.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's great. And I almost forgot because Ron stole my thunder all the way up at the top, but in welcoming new board members, we have to say goodbye to Josh, and do want to thank him for all of his dedicated years of service. And I got to share the boardroom with him for the last 2 years. And I do really appreciate the leadership he showed through some tough times for us, and his contribution along the way, service of the community and of the school district. So Josh, thank you very much for that. And we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn into executive session for discussing contracts, the purpose of which would unduly reveal personal information. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.